rate cut?
But exactly how much they wanted, not so sure. What does it want now? Like the kids who are dying for the cookies before breakfast? Our Fox panel back now to talk about it, including Victoria Barrett of Forbes. Eric Bolling, what the heck does the market want now that it's gotten another 3/4 of a point?
I'm seeing a new high in the Dow.
Yeah.
I was seeing a new high in the S&P and NASDAQ post after the announcements. I think this is great. The Fed clearly said 75 basis points because the market needs it, because of liquidity issues, because of growth issues. 25 more if it needs to. It noted in its communique that comes out after that they will continue to move, which means they can move prior to the next meeting, which is probably about 6 weeks from now. And that's all good news. That means the economy isn't as bad as everyone thinks, as bad as Peter says with the dollar weekend. By the way, the dollar is up from the announcement. It was down on the day, and it is up since the announcement. But the point is, 75 basis points. You would have thought the dollar would have gotten crushed after that, right? No. The dollar's up, and gold is down. So, listen, all bets are... I figured it out. I figured it out.
Let's bring in Victoria really quick. Victoria, you did see a lot of stronger language in the statement this time around, as maybe that was taking the markets up right now.
Well, there was a lot stronger language around inflation, which isn't a good thing. You know, I think we've seen this happen before. We've seen this play before where the Fed lowers rates, the market responds positively, and then the next day we have a down day. I don't see why this is going to be any different because the fundamentals are still very weak.
Exactly.
Gary Kalpom, is anybody a little annoyed that the Fed is cutting and slashing and burning in the wake of banks like Bear Stearns getting themselves into these problems? Bear Stearns had 2 funds that collapsed over the summer on wrong way bets that they made of their own volition. Nobody's bailing out the homeowners just yet. Why are they bailing out Bear Stearns?
Oh, well, look, the bottom line is the Fed is looking at the financials. They've been looking at the financial markets for the last year. My whole problem is on one premise with the Fed is that for a year they were saying there was no problem with housing. It was bottoming. Everything was going to be fine. Subprimes contained. Now all of a sudden this. I just have one question. They do this 3 more times. They're down at 0.
0.
Then
Hello,
what?
Japan.
I mean, that's the big issue here. How much do you go? And to answer to Eric, we're talking about today, great, the market's up, but overall, since the Fed cut, things are way down, oil and gold are way higher, and we're still 2,000 points below the highs. For me, one day means nothing, and if you look at the past, which is important, every time the Fed is injected, we've had a few days up, and then we failed again. Hopefully things are different. I'm always optimistic, but I'd like to see more proof.
Gary, I'm a trader. I'll take today's settlement price. You got short today's settlement price. We'll take a look back election day.
Okie dokie.
I'll take a piece of that. Right. But, you know, Liz, it's not hello Japan. It's hello Argentina. It's hello Zimbabwe. You know, Japan
Explain to our viewers, Zimbabwe has inflation of?
I don't know, 1,000,000%. I mean, it's hyperinflation. But, you know, the thing is, the reason that Japan was able to have a zero interest rate policy was because the Japanese had tremendous amount of savings that they were willing to invest at low interest rates. We don't have the money. We've got to go with a cup in our hand and beg the Europeans and the Asians to lend us money at close to 0. And they're not going to do it because they're going to get killed in the exchange rate.
All right, Victoria, what do you think? Japan, is that where we're going here?
God, I hope not. But I think that the thing that we need to point out is that it's not in China's interest, it's not in Japan's interest, it's not in Europe's interest for us to have a weak market, a weak consumer market. Especially China and Japan depend a lot on U.S. consumer spending. So there's hope that they could help us here. Unfortunately, we're in that position where we need help.
Eric Bolling, I have to tell you, Rob Katz of Vail Resorts, he could barely contain how happy he is that the Europeans do at least have a strong enough a strong enough pound sterling or euro that they can come here. You go on any ski slope in America, and they're filled with people speaking foreign languages. Nothing wrong with that, but you don't see a lot of Americans there. They can't afford it.
In Times Square, you walk around and you talk to the CEOs of Tiffany's, which I have. It says, it's fantastic. The euro is very strong. We're selling everything. They're coming here. They're buying. The point is, yes, a weaker dollar helps certain companies and hurts others. But take note, the media, the White House mentioned the media. The media's got has to get involved in the dollar and what's going on in the dollar, because it's step 2 of a 4-step process to dollar intervention. Step 1 is the White House talking about, 2 is media, 3 is other banks, and 4 is intervention.
All right, Gary, here's your chance then. Gary, get your radio show and start talking about the dollar. Here's your chance, Gary.
Look, all I know is every time I see Bernanke say we believe in a strong dollar, I feel like inside he's just chuckling like underdog.
That was hilarious the other day. I mean, Hank Paulson throwing that out yesterday as an aside. Come on.
Every 3 days.
Wait till we got teenagers coming here from Europe with little Frommer's books in their hand. America on €5 a day.
Why is that a bad thing, Peter?
Because
my
son, because we're broke. It used to be the ugly American. We used to be able to go over the world. We had the wealth. We could go around and go to Europe and buy, and live high because we were wealthy. We had a strong currency. We are losing that economic might. Our standard of living is going down the drain.
Victoria.
30
well,
seconds.
it hasn't been that way for a long time. I mean, you go to Europe in 2000, you were still spending a lot of dollars.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It goes in cycles.
We were going there on $5 a day.
We are still the consumer to the world. We are always going to be the consumer to the world. The world is catching up, but we're still...
Not if we keep going this way, though.
Ooh, 2 against 1, Eric.
Hey, I know, I'm tired. Come on. No. You know what? China will be the consumer to the world someday. Not yet, but, that's a good thing, too, because then we will. Then we'll be selling goods to China.
They're the producer to the world, and they'll be the consumer.
All right, gang, that's it for now. Hopefully it's cyclical and we'll come back to being powerful once again.
Deep breaths. All right, the Fed's rate cut could mean it's time for homeowners to refinance, or is it?
Yeah, should you refi? We'll hear from a couple of people on the front lines of the refinancing business. Next on Fox Business, Dow Jones Industrials up 3.